It's time.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's the King of the Couch back in your ear holes for another week. Sitting here, episode 119. We're filming. We got red wine. I'm sitting across from a Sunshine Coast legend.
I'll cut it out, you.
He's legendary. Local barber, local legend, surfing legend, actually. Covered in the Illustrated Man. They've talked to me. They've told me. No, Tyler Hing, aka Unkle Hingy. How are you, man?
Azzy. Stoked, man.
Jeez.
How you going?
Good, man. Thank you for bringing the red wine.
Delicious.
I like a guest that brings presents.
You don't come to a house without some red, mate. It's not how we do it up in here.
Yeah. No, man. Thanks for coming on the show. This is, I said, it's episode 119. I think we've been talking about this probably since like episode maybe like 20 or 30.
And I'm calling like even pre-episode 1. When you were cruising in, get laced up and like tell me about the show you want to do and like get on this podcast, and I was like, dude, I'll be there like straight away. And like, 3.5 years later, I'm here with Red. So
it was, yeah, man, it's a long time in the making, but it just goes to show how busy we both are.
that's what's happening.
It's not, and you know what, it's like a nice cheese. It matures over time, and us wine.
We're a good gooder.
Yeah, we're nice.
Yeah, we're a really nice gooder right now. I'm feeling.
I got a few icebreaker questions I always like to ask, but I got a thing like, how did we meet? I was thinking about it today. Usually I don't plan too far in advance. I always think about it on the eve. Yeah. I remember when I first met you, and I don't know if I ever told you about this, but I remember before I even lived in the area, like even before I even lived at the sunny coast, Beck's mum was living at Dickey Beach, and I went round to the pocket. You know, you're like, I'm gonna fucking scout the area.
Just gonna vibe around. See
I'm
what's
gonna vibe.
happening.
And I'm cruising on my own, and I went to the pocket when it was the old pocket. But remember, they used to have that like Caribbean rum bar.
Dude, it's called the Jungle Bar.
The Jungle Bar.
Yeah. So that was my first barbershop in there. I teamed up with Scotty and Esther.
Yep.
And they were nice enough to let me come into the Jungle Bar, cut hair, and just like try and drag crew in, drink cocktails, and kind of trick them to drink cocktails while I cut their hair.
Dude, I remember walking in. And I was like, this is pretty sick. It's a fucking jungle bar. Like, this is cool, right? And I remember just in the corner, I was like, there was you with your whole thing going off. And I was like...
That was a thing.
I was like, there's a barber in the bar? I was like, that makes perfect sense. And I shit you not, stayed for a few drinks. Didn't get a haircut that night because I was just unprepared for a haircut. And I've left the area. I've come back like 2 weeks later, and the whole bar's fucking shut. I was just like, was that like a mirage?
Door shut. It was a full sneaky boy, hey. So I think it was there for like 4 or 6 months, but real sneaky. And then I bounced around to a homie of mine, Hitbikes, who was next to the servo at Moths, right? So it was like barbershop and a bar, and then I switched over to like barbershop inside a mountain bike shop, like, but it was just fully, I needed a shop, they had this space, the dudes were rad as, and I was like, boys, we can make this work. Can I trick it out a bit? And we did, and they were frothing, and man, I got to have a business in Moffat Beach for another 12 months after that. So
dude, it was cool. I mean, we'll talk about that because you're that's kind of mainly how I know you from getting my hair cut with you and stuff, and we sort of, I guess, developed quite a nice bromance over the time. But yeah, fuck, it was really cool, man. It was like really refreshing to come into like the community. It's like you come into a new space.
Yeah, man, like you're green, like you're coming in green, you don't know what to expect. But you were cool, because I remember Maddie James hit me up about you.
Yes.
Yeah, Hucklebar Snow Tours, man.
Mate, friend of the show, long time friend of the show.
Shout out to Maddie.
You better be watching.
Mate, Maddie right now.
The dog hunt, he
he is a bit of a dog hunt.
I hit him up.
Always comes back from Japan, never calls your barber. What are you doing?
He doesn't drink when he's in Australia. He just goes over and like dies of alcohol poisoning.
Just rides Harleys over here and then like I know. What a coot. Love you.
He's a goon. But he literally, I was teeing up with a phone call with him on Friday night. I messaged him at like 1 p.m. He got back to me at 2:30 a.m. and his message was so drunk as. I said, oh yeah, man, I figured as much, hey, and I haven't heard from him since. So I hope if you're listening, I hope you're doing okay.
Yeah, man. Funny thing about Maddie, like we met, because I was doing my apprenticeship, like my parents had Beach Beat at Alex, and he opened up Francis Bean, like next to that, this cafe, and I was doing my hairdressing apprenticeship like in the same street. So like Monday to Friday I was a hairdresser. On the weekends I'd slap it out at Beach Beat. But then like I loved going and drinking beers and having a good time.
He was a good dude.
He was a good dude, but he was
he
was like, man, you should come and work like before you started the shop at my cafe. And I'm like, man, I don't know fucking nothing about coffee. And he was like, dude, like neither do we. But
yeah, I tell you, I look up to him.
It was sick.
I look up to him, and that's actually was half the reason I wanted to talk to him. I was looking for some advice, and that's for that reason. I look up to him in that way, like he's a guy that goes, I want to do X, right? He's an accountant, okay, he did that.
Dude, makes it work, eh?
Yeah,
Dude can dodge and weave.
I want to start a fucking snowboarding.
Did you remember
tour
that? It's
company.
like, man, let's do that. And now he like creams it. I've had so many of my
Yeah.
homies go over there, like endless homies, and they're like, dude, have you seen this place? Seen what this motherfucker made?
It's bad. It's. I mean, it's not bad. It's good. It's just like one of those things you just go. It's inspiring. You go, that's very cool.
Just knows how to piece it together.
Yeah, and I just get so overwhelmed, and I'm like, how can someone that smokes so much weed just work it out like that?
Oh man,
I can't
like,
do that.
He's doing that, and like I've driven diesel cars my whole life, and every now and again I'll still throw petrol in the tank just to mix it up. Like that's how much I got my shit going on.
Oh man, hey, listen, I know you, of course. We go way back. I like to do a few icebreakers here, and there's some random questions. I'll read them out to you, of course. Just pretend that I don't have a teleprompter here.
No, for sure.
Do whatever you want. Do whatever you feel like with your hands. We're gonna have a good time here. Actually, I think we should do a shout out for this wine. It's a fucking good wine. What is
dude,
this wine?
This is the go. This is
Well, we've already pumped a bottle.
man, I can't pronounce it. You just got to go to Dan Murphy's and just hit up that Portugal section. And like,
Talento Echo.
whatever's in there, it's going to be a good time. It's going to be under $20, and you know you can tell your friends that you went and spent like $80 on a bottle. They're not going to know.
If the winemakers are listening, I'll accept some
shout
free
out,
wine. You know what I mean? We'll plug it, okay?
We can do it, man. We can drink it.
Yeah. Man, yeah, some icebreaker questions. So for the punters,
Righto.
I love this one. What's the weirdest food you've eaten?
Weirdest food for me, it was like I had this girlfriend once through high school, and for every Christmas, her parents would cook like oxtail.
Yeah.
Like,
Was she Asian?
no, man. See, this is the thing. Like full Aussie, like super rad family, and just like all normal food. But then it'd be like the cow tongue, like the ox tongue,
Yes.
and like oxtail, and it'd be in the stew. And then you just have it over like potatoes and stuff. And like, man, I'll eat anything, you know what I mean? Anything in this world except for beetroot, I'm cool with.
I mean, you got to try it. You got to go out there, but you got to have a line in the sand.
You know what I mean? And like, oh man, even my cousins, like they're from the country, right? And they have these things called Perry oysters. And I didn't know what they were at first. So we're out at this barbecue.
Never heard of a Perry oyster.
Yeah, so we're out at this barbecue one Chrissy. My cousins are like, oh, he wants some Perry oysters. And I'm like, oh, it must be a thing from out west. Sure thing. So it turns out it's just bull nuts. That's all it is. It's just,
Like actual bull testicles.
Yeah, bull testicles, and they cut them in half and slap on the barbecue, and they look like this white, like oystery looking thing. So yeah,
You'd
it's
be stitched up thinking, I'm in for a juicy, salty oyster.
so stitched up. You know, it was kind of like a juicy salt. You know, I started having mixed feelings about my sexuality after it, but we came good.
This is delicious. What is this?
What is this?
Yeah, it's organ meats and things like that. I follow a guy, Liver King, shout out Liver King, and he's just, I don't think he owns t-shirts, he's a jack unit, and he just lives on like raw liver, bone marrow, and I see him eat a lot of bulls testicles, and there's just something about him,
Dude, it's a country thing. I think it must have started out as like a fuck you, I can do this.
Yeah.
And then it turned into like if like he's doing it and I'm doing it, like a full like.
oh, it's
I
just,
don't know, man. Like I still have nightmares about that Christmas. Haven't been back to seeing on a Chrissy since.
it's not a city thing. It's definitely not a city thing.
It's not a Moffat Beach thing, dude. You
No.
know, I don't even think it's like a. Yeah, I don't know.
These hands are way too soft. I couldn't eat a testicle.
Like hairdresser hands, bro.
Yeah, no, I couldn't eat a testicle, but that's good. I like that. That's good. Oxtail is something I've probably had that. Like I said Asian because it's like I watched a thing about how to make a pho or a faux soup.
Ah, a pho.
Chef Rang, Maddie.
Yeah, I know
Matheson.
Chef Rang.
Yeah, and he was going on about it. I was
Shout
like,
out to Maddie Matheson if you're ever watching this. I
yeah,
love
man,
you.
we got to get him.
I love you.
We got to get him. This is a good one. Favorite movie and or TV show. Some people have had on here that just can't do it. I know you like. I know
Bro,
you're
man,
a bit of a movie buff.
I have watched Into the Wild over 400 fucking times in my life. Like every 2 weeks or so, like I'll just be on my laptop, like at home, doing the week's accounting, and just being like, when am I going to be rich? What's going? Oh, Into the Wild will make me feel better. You slap that bad boy on, and I'm like, I'm going to sell the van, I'm going to sell the shop. I'm just going to get a set of gumboots at a stall and just like head up to Karoi or something and just live my life,
It's one of those movies, and you know what? Because I know you, I thought you were going to say that because you
Coming
are
out.
right. Because every 2 or 3 weeks, you must get on the sauce. I do this too.
Oh, have you seen it on the Instagram?
And you wanna
She
pay it
pops
forward.
up.
You wanna pay it
Yeah, I
forward,
paid
eh?
forwards, man.
And I go, fuck,
paid
I've only
forwards.
ever watched it once. And I'll tell you what, it took me a long time. One of my best friends, Milky, he loves that movie too, and he would just talk about it on non-stop, and I just knew it was going to be a bit of a tearjerker. And when you're like, I'm not in touch with my emotions, like I don't know if I can go down that route.
Yeah.
And that was old as. Now I embrace that.
You got to embrace it, man. Like you're a young dad, you know what I mean? Like you got to just...
With a daughter, I got to cry now.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes Adele comes on the radio and I'm just fucking like in traffic. Just it's all happening. You know what I mean? Just want that love.
We could end up watching Into the Wild tonight. Actually,
I'm not scared.
it's a good movie, and that's a true story, right?
Yeah, it's a fully true story. They found the motherfucker like honestly, it was like 6 weeks later from when he died. So he was there for like a long time. And these backpackers came across this bus and like he'd wasted away, but like Dude, rad.
I was so gutted that like I didn't know the story leading into that movie. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, he doesn't make it.
He dies, man. He dead.
But I was like, I didn't see that coming. I thought, no, he's going to get on the other side.
Because the whole time it's a building, you're getting your spirits up,
Yeah.
it's getting all the goodies, and then right at the end, it just like
there's so many messages throughout that movie, and then I'm like, the final message got me. I'm like, wait, what? Yeah, I'm like, I'm not sure if I should go out there now.
Man, like
it's very scary.
So many times I've like been in tattoo parlors getting stuff done. I'm like, they're like, oh, we got some time. Do you want something else? I'm like, I know a heap of these quotes from the movie off by heart, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I might get this. No, fuck no. Like I'm getting out of here.
Yeah,
you know, like big. It's one of those ones when you're like 60 and your wife's paying it out. She's super over you. She starts like quoting the tattoos that you have.
Yeah, dude. Well, I was, you know, that meme that goes around. It was just like those old people that are like all having the tattoos, and it's just like, you know, it's like you can imagine an old person with a tattoo. It's like yuck, and it's just like, no, how cool would it be to be an old person with tattoos? Like I love seeing those old sailors that have those tats that are like there.
Dude, the
they're
raddest,
just fucked.
The raddest
You're
old
like, where
dudes
was that?
ever.
I can't actually physically see that. It's just like a mash of blue.
Oh man, even down like 'cause my shop's sort of right near like the RSL and like all the palliative care, right? So many of the old dogs, and like they ain't coming out, you know what I mean? But they'll cruise down. Fucks me how, but they'll just like so many times I'll cut somebody's hair and like there'll be an old taco just tattooed out, like old Navy boy or old Army boy, and I'm like, how'd you get here? And they're like, I walked. I'm like, it's the middle of summer, it's 45 degrees, it's 8Ks away. Like, sorry dude, wait 5 minutes. No shit, like chuck them in the van, drive them back to the homes and drop them off, and the nurses are out the front of the RE just like,
where the fuck is it?
where's Darren?
Yeah, where is he?
He just comes back looking all slick for like all the biddies in the retirement home.
How good, eh? Man, sorry, I laughed there. I thought you referred to the RSL as palliative care, and then I realised there's the RSL and then there is the palliative
that's who
care.
owns it, yo. Like all that, they fund all that shit.
Actually, an RSL is kind of like the closest thing to palliative care. That's not palliative care.
I think that I've been in palliative care in the RSL poking room at 2 a.m. a couple of times, but no, it's pretty sick, man.
I'm not going to make it through the night.
I'm not going to make it through.
That's cool. I like Into the Wild. That's a very good movie. Go and see it if you haven't. It's a book too, right?
Yeah, dude, there's a book on it. I think it's more like a biography on the actual dude
right,
that the
not
movie's
like a
based
journal or
off.
something. Okay. What about a TV show? You watching anything?
Man, I'm so Yellowstone bound right now. Like season 4 of Yellowstone's just come out, and like, you know, my old boy and like my grandparents are like, you know, publicans, you know, grew up, some of my cousins grew up on farms and stuff, and there's just that inner cowboy that I've never been. Like I'm literally like a straight male hairdresser, and like my hands are softer than anybody's in the world, you know. There's something about that, like I've never ridden a horse.
Yeah.
You know, I've never been on 50 acres.
I've never, I actually tried to watch it, man. I couldn't get into it. You know, you're just not in the headspace. And now I want to go back. Because I don't think I've heard anybody that I respect say a bad word about it.
Man, she gets you. She hooks you in. How about you, bros? What are we thinking?
Favorite TV show? The one I'm watching right
TV
now.
show.
Well, favorite TV show. I mean, if we're going comedic, it has to be Seinfeld.
It's got to be Seinfeld.
I love Seinfeld. I mean, how can you not like Seinfeld? I love.
Just having a good time every time.
Oh, dude, I'm watching it again. That probably closer by Peep Show. You seen Peep Show?
Dude, I've seen little bits. It was one of those ones where like
if you
a homie of mine that was living with me was watching it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think I jumped
what
in.
is this?
I jumped in too deep.
Yeah.
Jumped in too like I didn't get the references.
It's like I think because like my family are like Irish, so there's a whole lot of like, you know, UK humor in my house, and it's very British, but it's funny, and it's because it's all point of view, right?
Yeah.
So we were like, wait, am I watching porn? No, this is hard to get into.
It was. But did you try anyway, just for fun?
It'll pan down. It'll pan.
Little pan.
Californication, probably one of my ultimate favorite shows.
Dude.
It's. I remember this is going way back to when I was this is going through my heavy drinking phase when I just been like broken up at like 26, 27. You're like, I've got the long hair, I got the mustache. I look like Johnny Depp, but like quite a bloated dead fish version of Johnny Depp.
Which I think would probably be like a hotter version if you ask me.
Yeah, it was a strong phase. I mean, it worked well when we went out.
I got nothing against the dad bod, bro.
Nah.
I could be thin if I wanted, you know.
But I remember just my whole claim to fame, which I thought made me, you know, I was like, I'm David Duchovny, I'm Hank Moody. You know, you're aspiring to be someone that's 40 years old and you're 27.
Oh, dude, 100%.
And I'm like, this is what I want to be like. And I just remember just drinking in bed, like literally in bed when I was single, just like,
There's nothing like a bad beer.
And I was in the zone. Like that was, I'll be honest, as sad as it sounds, that was some of the funnest time I ever had. But just being like me in a black hole watching that, and I just, you know, it was bad. I used to drink a bottle of Sauv Blanc in bed, not every night, but like I was like, and I just got to the point where I was like drunk, and I was like, I'm really just I'm zoned in here.
Yeah, 100%. So
I
you're
fell in love with the
out of
show.
that phase.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. Yeah.
Because is there something wrong with that phase?
Yeah, dude. I know if there's a big part of me. There's a wall that lives inside me, and then one side's just like, hey,
Just full renegade.
come
It's
back,
like, come
man.
on.
The savvy bonk, the savvy bee's cold, bro.
I'm just waiting for you. It's in the fridge, doing,
Yeah.
doing a little shimmy.
Oh man, it was just one of those things, you know. I like every now and then I'm like, oh, it would be nice to just like relapse. But I tell you what, I can't get into it anymore. Like I can't get into it in like it just doesn't get me there. Like I feel like I'm way too pissed.
Just try Jägermeister, dude. Fuck it. Just
Yeah,
big glass
no,
of
it's
ice,
easy.
Jaeger up to the brim.
There was a period there, man, just getting on it where I went through like the J. You remember the J&B whiskey?
Yeah, dude.
And you know what? Because I'm a movie buff like you, I was like, I see it in movies, and it was like subliminal advertising for years. I was like, oh, J&B.
Yeah,
Never had it.
J&B.
Never seen it at parties. It's Jack or it's Jim Beam or Bundy or whatever. Growing up, you know, in high school and shit. And then when you're like, you get a bottle, you're like, oh, I'm 25. Like,
So I'll try a bit of this JB.
Yeah.
Like, if you didn't start on whiskey, like, man, I got this client. He's called Whiskey Jeff, and he's literally the homie that, like, at Dan Murphy's, like, he's there. He does private whiskey tastings. I cut his hair up at his bloody penthouse at King sometimes, and he'll be like, showing me the craziest shit, like the craziest whiskeys. Is it bad that I just love like a black rat with like premixed Coke?
Yeah,
like
there's nothing
already,
wrong with that.
you know what I'm saying?
There's nothing
It's
wrong
just
with
like people. It's like red wine, man. Like that bottle's like $17. I've had $300 bottles of red, and I'm like, fuck. I reckon I should just get a cast. And
I know there's
You
like
know.
there's elements of your own, like that's you can't change
I
that.
think it's just like that
It's
rat
like
bag,
genetics.
like that inner rat bag.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You can't outgrow that.
No,
like,
never.
and that's kind of, I think that's nice. I think it's like, you know, okay, we can mature.
It's like you know what you like. You know.
we like taste. I was at the casino a few weeks back.
I'll stop it.
And
Brizzy?
Nah, Gold Coast.
Gold.
I was on it, but I wasn't actually. My mum was.
Bum bag.
Yeah, dude. I was wearing glasses, like
Glove,
speed dealers.
speed
yeah.
dealers, yeah, bro.
I know. I should have come for the fucking side tape before.
Dude,
went
I would
down.
have laced you up.
Dude, but I was in there and I was like, I bought a Corona, and I was like, I love Coronas, you know, because I'm a dad now. Like, it's like a natural thing. You have
Yeah,
to
dude. Like I
Corona
thought you were gonna get a crowning or something, dude.
Oh man, and it was $11, and I was like, oh, and my tight ass muscle just really clenched, and I was
100%.
like, and I was like, you know what, I'll get a Jack and Coke next, and I was like, I haven't bought one in like, I reckon 7 years.
Tasted good, didn't it?
Oh, it was so good.
That little piece of home.
And you're like, where am I? Like, I'm halfway through the first one. You're like, wait, it's daylight outside.
Yeah,
like,
man,
what
like
is it? It's so cold in here.
Yeah,
you know,
it gets you
my
because
mum-
they get the no windows and the no clocks, and like you just lose track of.
Yeah.
I mean, like I've never like been to a place like that, but I hear it's like pretty, like they really suck you in, you know.
That's my favorite shows. I'm actually watching Squid Game at the moment.
Tell me about this show because like I'm that one that's like if the masses are watching something, I'm like, fuck you, I'm not gonna watch it, and then once everybody kind of has, I'm like, yeah, was it good?
You just watch it on
You
the
know what I
side.
mean? Yeah.
It took me a while to watch it, man. I tell you what, it's not because I'm like just, I don't want to say an uncultured beast, but there's nothing more than you want to do is sit down at like 10 o'clock at night, put on a show and have to fucking read the words.
Yo, so it's subtitled.
Yeah, but they dub it right.
Oh, that's even worse than the
Yeah,
subtitles,
which
yo.
is-
When the mouse are like, how are
yeah,
you?
which is my battle because like they're Koreans, right? Which is fine. They're Koreans.
I'm Chinese, we're all good.
You know exactly what an Asian language sounds like, and you know that everyone's got their voice. Like we've got, if we were trying to speak Italian now, if someone dubbed this Italian, it just wouldn't look right.
Wouldn't even look right.
So when you go to the Squid Game dub, they're Koreans, but they're just like, hey, how are you? And you're just like, oh my god, they're not.
But there's kind of nothing. Where if
Yeah.
it's Australian, it'd be like, yeah, can't hang on.
Yeah,
you
they're
know
not
what I
from
mean?
Ohio, dude. They're from fucking Seoul. You know.
Oh, so they put that like
Yeah.
American twist
Like, why-
on top. Oh,
I just think
yo.
like I just think that's like why can't you just get Korean dudes that speak English to dub it? Do you know what I mean? Like you
Or
would
even-
know.
even- yeah, straight
People are
up.
smart. Like
But no.
anyway, I would just if you do it, I would do subtitles. I went back to subtitles, man. But I like to see like the art. I tell you, it's one of those sort of slow burnery shows. So there's a lot of like visual stuff without talking, which makes it good. But it's pretty interesting, man. I mean, I'm only like 2 episodes in, and it's like pretty hectic. And it's kind of like a huge people that like there's a huge debt culture over there, like every fucking where, right? But there must be just a massive disparity in class over there.
Yeah, right.
And
so
people
like you're rich, or you got kind of nothing. Like,
so like people are like ultra poor and they need money, right? And the ultra rich have money. Anyway, a few desperate people get snapped up in this thing called Squid Game or whatever it is, you know.
so they can win money. That's what
They
it's
can
about.
win money, right?
Yo.
And it's kind of like they're playing on people's emotions. And there's a really interesting scene. I won't ruin it for you, but after like some people get hurt like really viciously, and like your primal brain would go,
Oh, it's like vicious.
yeah, very violent. Like, and it's
I'm kind of liking it.
and
like,
I was
a little
actually
more.
honestly that was what because I like the Asian cinema, man. They know blood. Like they're
Oh,
like,
they know what's up.
they're bang on. I'm like, this is good. And after that scene, and it's funny, there's a whole thing. I won't ruin it for you because I'm sure you're gonna watch it.
Well, you know, mate.
Everyone's watching it.
I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah.
I know I'm gonna watch it.
And it's like they play on people's emotions, where it's like, oh, okay, you want to quit? I get it. And I understand this is the way out. However, we're just gonna dangle the carrot, which is money.
Yeah.
And it's like you can just see people. You're like, oh, okay. And it's really interesting, man. So far, so good. I'm 2 episodes in and I'm like, wow, this is like really
So
it's
you're
intriguing.
fresh. So I can like secretly play catch up with you and then we
Yeah,
can
dude,
like
we can
call
do it.
up
We
at
can
night
do
and
it.
be like, yeah,
I've got a real bad habit of falling asleep every night.
how else do you fall asleep?
Yes,
Like, I'm on the couch. That's why we got such bomb ass couches, man.
Crack sour.
Do you want a sour?
Get one out.
Oh, go on,
Yeah.
come on.
So that's pretty much it. But anyway, this show's about you tonight, man. I'm here every week of mine.
All right, man.
This is a good. I'm gonna ask you this one. This is a 2 or 3 parter. We got heaps to talk about. Are you reading anything? Do you read books?
I'm big on like the autobiographies and not really. Yeah, man. Just like
The first time we got Esky on the show, I think it almost needs to be a staple.
yeah. So like, I didn't want to keep walking downstairs to the fridge, like kind of a little bit, you know.
None of us did, and it's
So-
sponsored by Billabong actually. If you're
Yeah,
listening.
Billabong. Beach Beat
What's
Surf
that? I
Shop's
don't like
also
that.
pretty rad. You should check those guys
Yeah.
out.
Thanks for playing. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, they're super sick.
Um,
Yeah, so like books, yeah, like autobiographies, man. So, everybody's like, for example, everybody in the world has read Scar Tissue by Anthony Kiedis,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So like that's what kind of got me in. I was never really into reading. I went to like a pretty sick school. I could read, obviously, but like it just never like I'd never sunk in. And then I read Scar Tissue in like grade 9. And that just sparked this whole like boom, like autobiographies are my thing because it's
Yeah.
kind of real. You can relate it. John Daly, like the
Yeah.
golf player, like man, at the moment that thing for me is just like, you know, there's a quote in it, and he's just like, you know, how do you play a good game when you're hungover? He goes, there's nothing like a cheeseburger from McDonald's and a Bud Light.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, if this motherfucker has like succeeded as much as he has, like, I have so much hope in front of me.
It's interesting, man. I think like personal development's such a big thing now. Like you go on YouTube and there's like little snippets of everything, but like the original personal development was like books, like because you get all the cool like, you know, the little things in books. You get it's warts and all. That's what I like about books.
100%.
And saying I don't read as much. I wish I read more. You know, I read like
It's-
1, 2, 3 maybe a year, but I've read one book this year.
Dude, we're at Christmas.
I know. I
And
gotta fucking move.
you've read one more than me, bro. So
I've got to
like,
move, man.
You're okay.
Actually, shout out. He's not sponsored or anything, but like Matthew McConaughey, Green Lights. It's a good book. Actually, it's a really good book.
Right on, right on, right on.
Yeah, dude. It's a good one. This one could be a long-winded one, but
Yeah.
have you got a favorite band? I always find this a really hard question to answer for myself personally.
Um,
You're a music man. I know.
bro, like,
You can if you need to give me like 5, you can.
dude, I think for me, like, something that captured me pretty heavily, like, all through sort of the just after high school, like, moving out of home, the kind of finding yourself, getting that apprenticeship, getting your first job, paying your first car off, something that was always in my lowered Commodore.
Yeah.
And then I took that CD out and I put it into the 80 Series Cruiser, and then I took it out of there and I put it into my Volkswagen Transporter that I have now. It's got to be Northlane.
Northlane. Wow.
Yeah, dude, like Northlane to me, like back with like Jaden the OG singer and like I don't know, just something about just the breakdowns, the messages in the songs, the how you could be driving down and something seems like it's, you know, you're heading home after a big day's work, you're fucking over it, and you're heading over the Caramati Bridge and the sun's going down, and then you just get this fucking breakdown that
Yeah.
just busts the back end out of the commo.
Yeah, that's
And,
so good.
you know, there's just something about that get you so hyped, and all of a sudden you're like, you know, I made $13 an hour today on the first year, but like, fuck, this band's sick, so fuck you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's exactly what you want out of your music. Hey, music should take you to a place.
Oh, it
every
just
time.
it just brings it from low
Yeah.
and just like, you know, I never like cruise down the road listening to Jack Johnson was like, but not a bad guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like,
Yeah.
fucking,
You're like, you shouldn't listen to that music and operate heavy machine.
oh yeah, no, not at all, man. Like if I was on like an excavator, dude, or it would have been built in fucking 2 days if I had a Northlane CD. You know what I mean?
My friend from school, Chris Axon, shout out Chris. I'm thinking Northlane's his favorite band too.
Yeah, Chris, we got friends.
I never really got into Northlane, and I'm saying I never really got into because I never really listened to them. Like there's that whole scene of metal in Australia. It took me ages to get on. Parkway Drive was probably the band that I guess, would you say pioneered that thing? But then they don't sound like any of the other bands.
It was like I don't know. I think that type of metal is like a lot different. Like Parkway definitely came on like a lot heavier, a lot more screaming, like a lot thumpier. And then, you know, Amity sort of brought that melodic hardcore
Yeah.
in.
That's what I was thinking of.
And then sort of, you know, the North Lane and the In Heart's Wake and the, you know, all this sort of shit. Alex on Fire. All these guys kind of bring, you know, this melodic hardcore or metalcore.
Yeah, it was a real mix between that hard vocal and that real sweet ballad vocal.
I'm pretty sure, man. Like I'm old as I'm pretty sure it's called metalcore. And that's where it's like that melodic hardcore, you know, breaks in. But that's just me because you kind of like it sounds sick, and then you can still like bring out that inner kid in you and just be like screaming and scaring some family next to you in a car at the lights because you know like every word.
You're like, wait, it's coming. You know,
like turned up to 11, the fusion sound system and the old commo is just getting a workout.
It's there was something about metalcore too. There's like almost like that, you know, like bands like Blink 182 and stuff like that, where there's always has that
never heard of
feel.
Dude.
Yeah. Bit of Travis, you know, he goes out.
I got a Blink tattoo last week, man.
Did you?
Yeah.
Is it somewhere we can't see it?
Yeah, I got bloody. So one of my best and oldest friends, his name's Jeremy Morris. Motherfucker is a lord.
I swear to God, I'm choking on that red.
Yeah, you're choking?
I actually know a guy called Jeremy Morris, but I don't think it's the same guy. He's a redhead in Melbourne.
No, definitely not a redhead. He's diabetic, super awesome lad. But like we've been friends since we were like real groms, right? And we just had this spare moment a couple of weeks ago, and like I kind of had this random Wednesday off. He kind of had this random Wednesday off. I picked him up for a surf, and on the way back, we dropped by Victory Tattoo, which I used to have a barbershop in as well. When Jake and Justin started the shop, they kind of approached me. I was lucky enough to spend 12 epic months with them and the crew. Andy, Brookie, Jakey, Justin, Jamie Randall, like a heap of absolute legends. And so we cruised in there. And we were just like, yo, has anybody got any time? We want to get matching Bling tats. And then my homie Jamie Randall was like, bro, fully, what do you want to get there? And we were like, well, we want to get Hello There, the angel from One Nightmare. The lyrics, but you know, like on your leg, it's a lot. So we both just got Hello There.
Yeah.
Just tattooed cool. Like on our ankles, but like pretty, sick.
I like that.
Matchy.
I love Bling K. I think growing up, and we're not like I'm 32, you're like late 20s or something.
Something like that. 20. I'm a 92 model, bro.
92 model. So we're there, right?
We're in that, like...
We're right there.
It hit us in the feels.
Yeah, and there was something growing up about Blink that, like... And it was Blink for me. Like, there was a lot of other bands I like. I was a big new metal kid. Like, fucking...
Sick.
Who didn't like new metal?
Who didn't like fucking new metal?
You're an idiot if you didn't like new metal.
Straight up.
But Blink was the band that, like, when it was the onslaught of the boy band, like, there was Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, all those crew.
These motherfuckers were just... kids wearing Converse and making funny as fuck videos, run around naked, playing naked.
Yes,
you know, like
that video for the fucking song that everyone knows, All the Small Things.
All the Small Things.
Everyone that was like from a kid that grew up was like, I can't understand boy bands. I hate them. You know, like you had to hate something at fucking 10 years old. That was it. And Blink 182 like saved the day. You were like, yes, these are the guys.
These are the motherfuckers, man.
Like that's the anthem, right?
Because that's what we play. Because like we used to play in high school, like the Battle of the Bands at Nambour and stuff, with me and my shitty friends, who are actually absolute lords. If you're watching, lords.
They'll be watching, dude.
Oh, dog. But like we were doing like Angels and Airways covers, man, and like Blink covers, and like because that's what you need to do. It was power chords. Like how sick it was. There were chords. But with less shit, you have to do it.
Yeah, it's like the ideal
sickest.
for like someone that wants to play guitar. Hey,
100%.
My mate Stu, he loves it. Shout out Disco. He gets a shout out every episode, Stu. But he's like, I want to learn to play guitar, but I don't want to do all the theory stuff. I'm like,
power chords.
I'm like, power chords, bro. That's it. Like you've got no other options.
Drop D and power chords.
Yeah,
and like you can sound like you sort of know what you're fucking doing.
Just one finger, this finger.
Just that.
Unless you go Cobain, you know what I mean?
Maybe even that one. Just feel like that.
God, man, we should just. I tell you what, I got a music show in the works. On air, let's do it on air right now. I've got a music show in the works. I've come up with 2 names. My cousin was going to get into it, but he lives on the other side of the world, so maybe we can do it.
Let's do this.
But he's a bit sheepish because he's on the other side of the world and it's a bit hard. I like the name Certified Bangers, and I also like the name That Sounds Sick. If you listen to a music show...
That sounds sick. That sounds sick, because Certified Bangers remind... Like, when I listen to Triple J now... Those motherfuckers are like 22 years old, man. And like, I'm back, I still back Triple J like real hard. But sometimes they say shit or they pay out shit that like I really back. And I'm like,
hey.
You sound like a fucking 10-year-old. I'm like, oh, you probably are a fucking 10-year-old. You know what I mean? But like, they've got that, is it a banger? And you know, and I'm just like, that sounds sick to me, is like something that we'd say. But you know, like when people say like bangers and shit now, I'm like,
so I grew up,
that's
like not grew up. But I would say bangers because like I think I did it as like to take the piss. You know Dizzy Rascal, remember that song?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, That Sounds Sick. I think we've officially set the name. That Sounds Sick.
That sounds sick.
We got some. We got the logo. It's already going.
It's happening.
Favorite piece of advice or motto you live by, or like a philosophy you live by? But I like this one. Favorite piece of advice you've sort of ever received, or you live by. You know what I mean? You can elaborate as you will, as you wish.
Man, I reckon it's definitely like always bite your tongue when you're doing good, because people hate to see other people succeeding, like even your homies and shit. And I've seen it time and time again, like you know, just like all my homies when they would like start a brand or something, people bag him out. They'd be like, fuck, he's never gonna make it, he's not gonna do this. And then that homie would turn into something good, and it's not until they're doing good that they'd come around and be like, oh, that's sick. And like,
yeah.
you know, I started my my hairdressing and barbering apprenticeship 11 years ago now, in a time where like, if you're a dude on the coast, like you're a chippy, you're a plumber, you know, you're a sparky, you're a plasterer. And I was wearing like tight jeans, small bar pub in 2011 with a Hawaiian fucking t-shirt. Yeah. Like working in a Schwarzkopf salon.
Yeah, I get that. I can resonate with that so hard.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, but like years and years later, my homies are like, you know, oh fuck, you get to like pass beers out all day, do what you love. You're in aircon, you're out of the sun because you're a white motherfucker. You know, like big thing
He's
for
a
me.
danger to himself.
I helped a homie do some roofing on a Monday recently. He just needed a dude after that big hailstorm. He needed to rip this roof out and like put a new one on. A couple of his homies couldn't. And he's like, yo, Hing, I'll give you, you know. So don't worry about it. Just give us a box of piss. I'd love to. I haven't done manual labor in so long. Yeah, this would be sick. It's not fucking sick.
No, it's not sick. My brother's a roofer now.
Dude, it sucks.
Yeah.
It's so sketchy, and half the time you're just like, you're taking shit off and you kind of slide that like 10 centimeters and you don't know if it's like going to be the eternal sleep or not, you know?
I know, and it's never worth it. I mean, you know, like athletes and musicians, and well, some musicians, you know, Metallica and stuff make money, but like athletes and stuff that make money, and you're like, you up there on a roof, potentially could fall off the roof, and you've got like sliding sheets of metal potentially coming at you.
But like that also being said,
and it's hot as fuck.
Big ups to every fucking roofer out there, because like, I can't do that shit, and you motherfuckers
we like
do.
roofers. We like roofers.
Like I'm a little pussy motherfucker, you know. Like it's a sick job if you can do it, but I ain't just that man, and I'm proud of you for being that man.
That was a good shout out to roofers. My brother's a roofer, so I got love for the roofers, and we like roofs. Then they
dude, right now this shit couldn't happen without none of that. You know what I'm saying? So that I'm just saying, like, scares the shit out of me.
Yeah, I like it. They help the podcast just stay dry. So, that's a good motto, man. That's a good motto. What's your take on that? You know, as you grow older and stuff like that, and it's kind of that. Australia's got that big, what do you call it? The tall poppy syndrome. Like that's always been an Australian thing where we want to see people doing well, but not too well.
Yeah, man.
We don't want them to overtake
me. I think like my old boy, like, man, like the dude's the man. Fuck, hardest dude I know by far. I think I got a cuddle once in 2006 off him. That was pretty rad. But like he always says this thing. It's like, don't tell me, show me. So that'll be the whole. You know how people talk like, man, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this, or I'll be like, yeah, I'm gonna buy. Like recently, I bought this Land Cruiser, and I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna buy this thing, and I'm just gonna like, instead of drinking like so many beers with my friends, I'm trying to save for a house, I want to spend a bit of money on this thing so I can get up the beach, go camping, go and have fun. Yeah. And, you know, just straight away, I'd like looking at him for advice, and he's just like, well, don't, you know, tell me, show me. Yeah. So then, you know, I spent a heap of money on like wheels and tires and suspension. Now I'm completely broken. It doesn't even work at the moment. So
I've shown you, Dad. Can I actually get some fucking money back? Because this is really expensive. Wish you hadn't told me that.
But nah, man. I think it's just about like being quiet with your achievements and kind of letting your achievements speak loudly for themselves.
Yeah, no, I like that. I think that's a thing too. That like I talk a lot, which is great for the podcast, but it could be a detriment for because you just like, I want to do that.
Man, I dribble shit for a living now.
Yeah,
like,
well, you got to, you know, like you're talking to people, what, fucking 8-10 people a day.
Just like
at least.
I had this one barber that taught me once. He told me it's just like a 2-stroke bloody Mercury on idle, you know, at the jetty. You just got to blah 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 just all fucking day. You just got to run that shit, but like not talking shit at the same time. You can put shit together. Just find out what somebody wants to fucking know, what you're into, find similarities. Like
this is just to fucking, sorry to cut you off, but
you're right, man.
I've got questions, right? I'll write them down, obviously, and you're kind of answering one question. It's funny how universally that works out, but you kind of already answered the question I was going to ask you. Like a barber. Well, anything in that sort of line of work where it's like a one-on-one contact with people of more than like a handful of minutes, right?
Yeah, dude.
You're like a therapist. Like you slot into like a therapy sort of position.
You got to be careful in a way, man, because there's like, I had an interview with Modern Pirate recently. I'm now an ambassador for Modern Pirate. Big shout out to Cant. Modern Pirate, absolute lords, fantastic company.
That's cool.
Melbourne-based, Australian-based hair product company. It's taken off, you know, kind of worldwide right now. I'm really frothing to be part of it, but
Yeah. They seem cool, man, from the outside.
Man, like just the sickest, and even to get approached by those guys, like just I feel like what I'm about's super what they're about, and like
that's cool.
You know, it's not just about. I think in my industry, especially, so many dudes are kind of doing the same thing, have the same look, do whatever. Where I'm just, you know, I just want to leave the crew better than I found them, and like hope to have fun in the meantime. Like it's not so you don't have to be a part of a rad scene to get your hair cut, man. But, you know, just leaving crew better than what you found them. It's the main thing, bro. Like the amount of shitty concreters that come in, they've had the most carnival day ever or something. And they won't talk for the first half, and then, you know, you'll like crack a little old school joke with them or something, give them a 10, and then, you know, they'll leave with a smile and, you know, throw you a $5 so I can get a beer after, like a tip or something. And it's like,
that's so cool.
You know, it's like, that's rad. Like, I'm doing the right thing in life.
It's good, man, because I think what you're doing, I think, look, barbering in a way is very old school, like very old school values, and it's gone bunter in terms of popularity, but it's cool because you get that, like, you get that one-on-one time, and that's what, it was funny, man. I had a mate around here today, and he sort of quoted it. I was like, that's kind of a great little fucking take on it, you know. But he said that because, like, he's kind of one of those guys that, like, would never get a facial, he'd never get a massage. Like, I'm all about facials and massage.
Man, I go on, have you know that skin on the sides of your feet at the back, like your heels?
Yeah.
Man, like once a month, me and the homies, we go and get petties. I'm talking like they get the grinders out on that shit.
They'd have to, man.
Like get the massages, like, you know, my chick gives me like the facials with the stones and shit. That's how I look so good.
You looking smooth.
Do I look good? Do I look skinny? What about now?
Dude, the camera loves you, eh? It adds 10 pounds,
do I look skinny now?
You know, it adds 10 pounds.
I just feel good.
It does.
But no, you know, man, there's nothing. Chicks know what's up, dude. Like, if you ever have a pet and you come out, your feet feel epic, or like, you know, you go and have a facial, like a proper massage, like a remedial massage. Holy fucking Toledo Batman! Like you are way better.
Like I don't know any guy that, like, that's kind of the dumbest thing, right? When people say that, I had a whole bit on facials once, you know, and it was like that. Like,
don't go getting dirty now. We're talking about getting massages and skin treatments, right? Keep the shit looking glossy, not that way.
Like, who, generally speaking, you know, like, if we can get a little bit sexist here for a sec, like, it's generally good-looking women that do facials and work at the massage parlors and stuff like that. Who doesn't want to get touched by women and just be in a nice environment where you can, like, meditate and be on your own and just chill? That's like guys on Saturday night. Like, that's like the ultimate goal. Like, I'm going to get drunk here and I'll hopefully go home and find my future wife.
Oh, man, it was like, when I was doing my apprenticeship,
facials are great.
I'd say from the Lullabar, like, man, I was one of two dudes in a body of like 130, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, there were all the other trades that were around us, and like, man, I did not care. Like, the way I saw it, I'm like, man, I'm hanging out with some of the coolest chicks ever. I'm learning something sick. All my bosses, tattoos, old school cars, really looked up to them. But all like the plumbers and shit, or like, you know, the other tradies or the dudes from the gym, that was worse. That was so sick. They'd be like, oh, come on, you do such and such name. Won't slur things because I don't agree with pronunciations with things, but, you know, gesturing that I was a member and might be into like the same sex, you know what I mean? Saying I was gay or something, I'd be like, dude, you're literally picking up like weights in front of a teacher, in front of 50 other dudes, and I'm in a room with like 130 chicks back here, hanging out, learning something super sick, and like I was into it, you know, like it's when you're really into something, I don't think that you care about what's going on around you, you know what I mean? Because you can just see this path for yourself.
Nah, and that's really cool, man. And there's something about that, and I will say, like, for myself, like, that wasn't a dig on chicks or anything, like, trying to be sexist.
Oh, no, dude,
like
not at all. But it's funny because that's just how the brain works.
It is funny, yeah.
It's like you say hairdresser, you think girl. You say plasterer, you think boy. But like, I know like 3 or 4 chick plasterers that would school a lot of motherfucking.
There's a lot of women, like, tradies getting around. You know what I mean? And same as like
ripping. Yeah,
but. No, it's good, man. I mean, like, put yourself in an environment where you want to be you feel good. Like, go and do it, boys.
Just go and, like, whatever. I think these days especially, man, like, just do what, think not, like, what's going to pay you good.
Yeah.
Because, man, like, $9 or whatever it was an hour, like, that wasn't looking too good back then, but I was just like, oh, I can get tattoos. You can sort of be yourself. You can wear whatever clothes you want. You get to listen to rad music all day. Yeah. So it was sort of ticking all the boxes.
Man, let's go back then, because like it's so cool. It's so refreshing to see someone that is doing what they like doing, but they're like passionate about it too. You're in a way you're fucking selling it right now. You know what I mean? People are probably gonna listen to this and go, you know what? Maybe I'll try that. Right? What was it going back? You said you've been doing it for what, 10, 11 years?
Yeah. So I started in 2011, but kind of before then, I was cutting on my homie's hair with no fucking idea what I was doing.
Yeah. Like, what made you do it? You just something you're interested in?
Man, so like I was working at Beach Beat, and my homeboy Matt Clement's Assembly Hair. is an absolute lord. He had a shop next to my family surf shop where I was working. I just got to know this cat, and like Maddie is like, when you're an 18-year-old kid, and you know Maddie would have been like 30, 32. He was the epitome of like what was rad.
He was the dude.
Dude, he had this rad business. He was covered in tats. He drove an old school car. He rocked up on a Harley to work most days. All of his staff were like these rad dudes. All three of them would pull their Harleys out the front and then like cruise in and work like a 14-hour day or something sometimes.
Yeah,
you know, they were there before we were there. And I'd be at the bar at Yankee Bar late at night and I'd see them still there working. You know, and I'm just thinking like, fuck, these dudes are getting it done.
Yeah.
And he offered me just a trial one day, man. And, you know, 2.5 years later, like I was still there. And then just naturally progressed through that. And I got to work at some really rad shops between kind of Melbourne, Sydney, Noosa, and Maroochydore. And then, you know, before you walked into that cool tiki bar and saw me kicking it, handing out Sailor Jerry cocktails, and
that was it. That
was it, bro, you know?
And that was the thing. Like there was no ambition, but there was no idea to do anything else or something, or that was you just sort of fell into it.
I was doing tree lopping with this company called ETS, you know, and man,
it's
like
such a wide
fuck, dude, like
you're lopping something.
It was good money. Yeah, I was always cutting. Like it was good coin. Like I'd always worked in my family surf shop. It was good coin cutting trees. My oldies really didn't want me to do it, so like fuck, like it's gnarly and like they're protected, and I was like, you know what, like I kind of don't really want to do it either. And then I got this opportunity, and I was like, and truth be told, man, like my parents weren't that fucking pumped that I got into hairdressing.
Really?
They were like, man, you went to like this private school, you know what I'm saying? We put this, and I'm just like, yo, just listen. There's a goal. This is, you know, what I'm into. But yeah, man, sometimes you just have that certainty in life where you see something and you see something other people don't see.
Yeah.
And you know, I definitely saw it from like a young. I saw how cool brands like Uppercut, and that was the early days, man.
Yeah,
like,
I remember when Uppercut just came in the scene.
All
was like
white hockey parks and like just full slick dudes, and you know, I saw all that stuff and just seeing it progress into what it is now. It's this wide range of from like mullets to slick back still to real traditional cuts, long cuts. Like it's not just trying to paint one image anymore. It's about just trying to let people be who they want to be. Yeah. And, you know, be really supportive of that, whatever, you know, whoever's in your chair, like you give it your all.
Well, I think it's really cool, man. Like I love it. And like, mate, thanks for sharing that, because I think people fucking learn something from that, man. Because growing up, being 32 now and getting older and shit, there's nothing sadder than someone that just is doing something they don't want to do. I think like there's a lot of sad things, but that's pretty fucking day to day sad.
You see it, man. Like even homies that come in, like, how you going? They're like, man, just fucking being like, you know, doing this and I'm like, you know, you can change it. Hey, like, you know, it's especially our age group. I think it's like 10 times or something. You're gonna have 10 career changes. Yeah, it's mental, right? And then you think, oh man, I'm 32. Like, I mean, I've had like maybe 3 or 4, you know what I mean? And even now I'm like, I like my job, don't get me wrong, but I'm going, would I do this for 20 years? And you know it's going to change, or 30 years, it's going to change. I'm already eyeing off like, I want to do that, I want to do that. The podcast, it comes back to that too. Oh, yeah, you can monetize it, cool, but it's something you think of, you want to do it. And it's kind of like what you wanted to do. You're just like, I want to do that. I like that. I think I just found it like, it's not, people normally find it, what I've seen at like 25, you know what I mean? By 25, they've tried a few things, they've got a degree at uni, and then they find their thing and they're like, bang. I lucked out. I found it at 19. That's so cool. You know what I mean? I get envious of that. You know, I think that's a really cool thing. I think people can take so much away from that. I think people too, like, they might be a bit hard on themselves, like, but... fully, man. You know, like, but... You know, you're a pretty fucking legit dude. Like, you like certain things, and I feel like you've now been lucky enough to incorporate that in what you're doing. Straight up, while still providing service. Yeah, you just gotta like it. You don't have to like what other people like. Like, you just like what you like, and then just try and you'd be like, sweet, like, man, if I had my way, I would have started a tattoo apprenticeship when I was 17. I cannot draw a Southern Cross. Like, let alone like a mandala, or like, you know, be as good and inspiring as some of the homies that I've worked with in the past. Like even at Victory, I saw some shit that these guys were doing, just like, and how they operate. I'm like, yeah, that could never be for me. But there I was still in that environment, but just doing something different. Like, you know, I was just barbering in a tattoo shop, and that to me was like something pretty sick for what I wanted to achieve. You know, I got to meet the sickest crew, work in the raddest shop, and I learned a lot about kind of what they do, and have a whole new respect for like, you know, what it is to be, you know, a tattoo artist and all that sort of scene. So
I think that's really cool, man, and it's a good thing too. You might not, you might go, look, I'm into music, or I'm into tats, or I'm into wearing fucking Hawaiian shirts. There's a lot of things that
Dresses, heels, fuck it, whatever. You know what I mean?
We don't judge. We don't
judge, man.
We don't
Just
box
do
in.
whatever you want to do.
But come in for a haircut, and that's when you can fucking be yourself on not just a barber, but like many facets.
Yeah.
You can totally be yourself. Like I can look at you and see what you wear and go, I know this guy likes clothes. I know he likes fashion. I know he likes. You're not fucking on the runway now. Neither am I. But I know you like
got the legs for it, buddy.
You got the
seen
legs,
these bad
bro.
boys?
You got calves for days.
Stop it.
But it's cool, to look at someone and go, that's fucking cool. Like that's the hat they want to wear, that's the shirt, the jeans. It's
man,
all
for
engineered
sure.
for happiness, right? I think that's beautiful, man. Hey, let's give a shout out for this beer because this is fucking delicious,
Wait, so
man. It's taking my breath away
So like,
in a good way.
so my partner and I, like, we were cruising through, and we were in Dan Murphy's, and she's not drinking. And I was like, "Yo, I really want to get a sour." And they were, man, do you know, like back in the day, there'd be like 3 different types of sours that you could choose from, right?
There's like 100.
Yeah, there was like 100 fucking sours, and my cruiser, I call like my Toyota Land Cruiser, I call it the Guava Cruiser.
The Guava Cruiser.
So like, I saw this, and I was like, well, it's a bit of a sign from God, right?
Bro, what is this? So we got Slipstream Brewing Co., which I believe are down in Yeronga. I've actually been to the brewing in Brisbane, so they're semi-local.
So yeah, so we're talking like Australian, let's call it Aussie made. An Aussie made guava sour. There's a little homie with a moustache on it, little sleek back, like little grease lining sort of setup.
I like it. It's fresh. I tell you what, it's
And
hard.
sort of Christmassy too. Like I'm a big Christmas guy.
That's you make a good point. It's very Christmas. I like it, dude. I appreciate you bringing this shit to my house. It's so nice. You're a top bloke. I fucking 4 sours.
Nah, dude, that's okay. We support each other as homeboys, and I think like beers are the universal peace offering for that.
It is like that. Hey, yeah, it's nice. And you're a bad coffee dude, so if I don't drink, we can have a coffee. We can do whatever we want.
And is there like a bottle that we pee in under here as well?
Yeah, dude, it gets weird after hours. Once we click over to like 10 p.m, we're fucking anyone's, man.
Well, anybody's.
With the barbering, man, you've got a good gig, and we mentioned earlier, like I mentioned the Jungle Bar, you've been to Hit Bikes, you've been to Victory, you've been around. You're kind of like you're like a mobile barber. I remember Bartley had a house party. It was my
Moffat
first
Beach,
house party
yeah.
in Moffat Beach.
Yeah, that art show.
And we sort of knew each other then, and then it was like, I remember coming in, and it was I'll tell you what, it was a sick house party vibe, because that was when he had the Head Over Wheels caravan,
yeah. All the art along the fence,
Very
along
cool.
the walls,
Very,
had the
very
fire,
cool.
the projector playing surf movies,
Yeah.
had the band set up in the garage.
That was a proper. That was like a house party from a movie house party.
Dude, that was legit, man. And like I was super stoked to be a part of that. Every bit of money that we made that night went to I forget what we were putting it on for, but I just
It was
said
like a charity thing. I remember.
Yeah,
it was
a charity thing, man.
Yeah.
And like we just ended up giving it all back to man. It was so much fun, dude. And like by the end of it, dude's coming up like, lace us in this, lace us in mullets, slick backs, and then I was doing the old one eye fade, because he put the beers on, right?
Yeah.
So like 8 hours in or something, the old like, come on down.
You're like, all right, mate, you're.
But I never said die though, I was
Yeah.
like, yo, you still cutting? I'm like, yeah, bro,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, no insurance. You're just like, fuck it, dude.
I'm like, dude, it's for the children,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
You
A
know
few
what I'm
uneven
saying?
fringes the next day. Fuck it, dude.
Oh, it was
some
all
light.
sorts of
You can
tough.
pull it into place. It's okay.
It was
dude.
fine.
Where do you see yourself going in the future, man? Like you seem to be in a good way. Like you got a bit of a vagabond sort of spirit, if you will. You've been around. You lived a lot of different places. You're pretty open, man. Like I think that's kind of fucking surf mentality in a way, because you surf and stuff. And where do you see yourself 5, 10, 20 years from now, like with what you're doing?
Man, like I've been doing my wedding barbering now for like 3 years, and it's really started taking off. So like the night before the wedding, all the homies stay in a house together. I come between here and the Gold Coast, like Gympie the Gold Coast, up to the house, box of Larry's. Shout out to your mate's brewery. They actually sponsor my shop.
Yeah,
bunch
that's
of bloody
cool.
dude, bunch of the lordiest lords, but
And they make great drop. They make fucking
the best drop. But I really dig that event barber, that wedding barber. I really need a couple of homies to sort of come jump on with me. If you're a rad barber, you like weddings, Unkle Hingy, hit us up.
I'd help you out, but I can't.
Nah, bro, it's okay. You can do number ones, but man, getting a shop, Caloundra based shop. It's really what it's my grassroots, man. Like I'm a Caloundra boy. I'd love to have like a 3-4 chair shop in Caloundra, just as the base, just as something rad. I've got so many homies on the coast that are doing such amazing things. Like Forever Barbers, Sharpie's Barber Shop. Jakey from Have Heart Barbers just opened up at Woolaba. Dude's doing some rad shit. Sip Sops up at Noosa, obviously the staple. You know, I've just got such a great barbering community around us on the Sunshine Coast. So just having a bit more of a staple shop, to sort of represent myself and my brand is what I'm working on at the minute. You know, I'm just hashing it out to get it done.
I think that's really cool, man. I think it's fucking... I'm gushing, man. I'm gushing.
Stop it.
In a good way. You found what you like when you've got fucking plans as well. But at the same time, you're cruising in a good way. Like, you're not fucking putting pressure on yourself.
You know, you can marinate them. Like, you know, you could go out and get big loans tomorrow and big overheads. But I think it's just that, like... Yeah. It feels right, whatever I'm doing for now. And, you know, there'll be some days I'm starting, like... I could start at, like, 6 a.m. cutting. Finish at 5 p.m. and then have a wedding from 6 till... you know, like 9:30 p.m. So like you're doing like 12, 13 hour days, and like you're doing what you love. You're sort of charging the prices that you demand and you deserve, and like for now that's pretty. I'm pretty sweet with that. I'm pretty content with that, and I just want it to build organically. I don't want to go sort of jump in the deep end too quick with it and kook it. I want to do it all right.
Dude, I think that's cool. I think that's noble. And you mentioned prices, mate. You're very competitive. I like that because everything comes with the beer. I was stunned because I grew up with it. My mum's a hairdresser, right? So I always just took hair, well, not for granted, but I never paid for haircuts growing up. So when I come here and I had to pay for a haircut, I was like, this is a big move, paying for haircuts.
Straight up.
When I come to yours, I was like, this is very nice. You know, it doesn't break the bank. And then there's beer and there's this. And it was like the whole shebang, you know? That hot towel... Bro, the hot
towel's key, man.
The hot towel.
You notice the essential oil scent on those bad boys as well. Yeah, man. Like it's the little things, but dude, like things are what they're worth. You know, like if you want something standard, it's going to be standard. You know, if you want the cutthroat neck shave, you know, it's a little bit more on the hot towel. If you want the cutthroat neck shave, the beer, and you know, like the up style afterwards, like that's something else again. So rather than just being like, this is what it is. I'm sort of like, so this is what it starts at, and this is what you can build it to be. Yeah. You know, not every dude needs that or wants that. Some guys just need, you know, the one and done. Yeah. And out the door. But it's definitely, I definitely appreciate doing the higher end stuff. But I think just knowing your target market, especially around Caloundra, not saying that it's fucking pretty dodgy. No, I'm just kidding. It's got a charm, right? Like Caloundra's got a charm. It's working in places like Noosa, like crew will come in there and throw you $80 and you give them 20 change, and they're like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Yeah. You know, you try and charge $40 for a haircut in Caloundra sometime, and somebody wants to stab you, and you're like, "Fuck." Dude. It's definitely the demographics are a bit different, man. But it's getting better in places like where we are here, like in Aura. So many young families, cool young families coming past, and it's really building it up. It's a younger sense, younger crew, and the street's popping. Yeah. I want to talk the coast after. I just want to know, what is there a favourite haircut you like doing? I know mullets are fucking Dude, the mullets are sick, but like the skin fade, like the skin razor fade, pompadoured slick back.
That's the vibe.
Oh, man, like I just remember working so hard on that one fucking cut. Like back in like, probably when I started working at like Captain Sip Sops, this rad barbershop in Noosa, and like, man, those motherfuckers know what's up, hey? And just getting like the razor fade, no lines, you know, learning how to upstyle properly and just really have somebody walking out looking shit hot. That haircut to me, that's my staple now, dude. Like,
it's cool, man. I like that. Man, a haircut. I believe in retail therapy, and a haircut is right up there. It makes you feel better. You get a good haircut. It's a fucking game changer for your day and for your life. Like it's unreal. So. Anyway, mate, I appreciate you sharing all the fucking in and outs.
Anytime, brother. I'm pretty much just you know, the 2-stroke marine engine is just on, and I'm just spitting shit.
No, you're going well, man.
It's good. It's good fun, man. First time on a podcast. It's pretty rad.
It's nice getting someone on the podcast that can just open up and be not nervous. I've had some people that it's very hard to get them to talk. But I do well. I'm a professional.
Oh, dude. Oh, you are a professional, bro. And I think the fact that like we've been egging each other on to do this for so long as well. Like, literally, I'm gonna call it like 4 years.
It's been a long time. I've been up on the coast 4 years, so it's probably pushing that, man. It's probably pushing that.
I'm talking it.
You mentioned you mentioned the coast. You mentioned Caloundra. You've dropped the name Caloundra a few times. It's near and dear to our heart. I mean, probably more than you because you grew up here. What was it like growing up on the coast? I grew up in Brisbane, right? So I love Brisbane. It's like home. And, you know, when you grow up somewhere, it's always going to be home to an extent. coming here now, man, it's like people go, I was at somewhere in Brisbane on the weekend. They're like, would you ever move back? I'm like, even though I love Brisbane, I'm like, nah, like this feels like my new home.
Yeah,
and
for
with the
sure.
recent fucking real estate crisis for people that don't own real estate.
Oh yeah. It turns out, folks, we're gonna be living in fucking caravans real soon.
Yeah, dude. But like that's the thing. I'm like, oh god, I wish I'd got into it like and bought, a year ago.
But it's just
like,
hindsight,
whatever.
man, and like I think you just got to do what you do. But man, Caloundra, like back in the day, because I went from Caloundra with my family. Oh, sales sick.
Nah, you got a belch on the show.
Oh, there you go.
Shout out.
Oh, we can do that. That's
Yeah,
cool.
no, dude.
Sick. But no, like Caloundra, I grew up from when I was in Grom till probably like grade 4 or something. Then we bounced to Watala, like super fortunate, right on the beach of Watala. And then soon after, once I left, I found my way back, and I've always gravitated towards like the Moffat Beach, thus massive old Moff's tatty, like right on the forearm.
Yeah, I like that.
So I'm an absolute fucking wanker. But man, Caloundra back in the day, it was kind of like, we had a lot of shit happening in the surf culture here. My family, had Beach Beat the surf shops. The crew like Wade Goodall, making movies with Jakey from Run Amok Visual. Sunny Coast was fucking producing a lot of cool, fucking really talented surfers. And Caloundra, like with the grommets, like my little brother Kazi, fucking rips. And like him and all his homies, like the Eli Steele, the Fizzos, like all the Ponsine, like there was the McDonald's. Everybody from Caloundra seemed to have their own. They just fucking ripped,
They're
dude.
just
Like,
good at it, yeah.
Yeah, man. Like I was fucking terrible. Like I was so shit. I just ride big long boards and try and stand on the nose of them horribly. But
You look good while doing it. I've seen you.
got to get the dad bod just flowing. But I think Caloundra was sick because it was sort of like, it was like, fuck you if you're not from here. If you are from here, still fuck you, but like you can party with us. If you know what I mean. So it was like, there was lots of passion pop going around. I remember that for free. And I don't know, man, like just some of the core crew that I kind of grew up with from around here. It's like when when you haven't seen crew for a long time, you see them again, you're like, fuck, like I could know you for the rest of my life pretty happily and I'd be pretty stoked.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that going on in Caloundra, man. I haven't really found it. I found it at Watala. I haven't really found it anywhere else on the coast, but I guess it's just because where I'm from. But dude, it's fucking sick down here. The variety of waves that we get is epic. The amount of like small businesses, families, like the whole family's in with a small business.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of. Dude, if you live in Moffs, as you know, like fucking everybody lives in Moffs. Everybody. It's like, Tim. It's like, oh, Tim, yeah, fuck.
Yeah. How do you not know
he
Tim?
he lives behind me. Oh, what about Rach? Yeah, Rach. Oh, Liza's there. It's just like.
It's a very, very cool scene, and it's like you said there, like I'm a bit of a family man, and that was one of the first things I noticed. I was like, there's a lot of family sort of money, a lot of family business, a lot of like entrepreneurs as well. Like, and as wanky as it is to say that word,
dude.
but there's a lot of people that just make their own money.
They figure it out. They're like, all right, this is an expensive place to fucking live. What have I got to do to live in this expensive place that I want to fucking live? And like, they make it happen.
Yeah, this is the life that I want, and that's where I want it. Or no, maybe it's in the opposite. This is where I want that life.
This is where I want that life.
How do I get it?
I might have to go.
Yeah.
Man, like, even the amount of homies I know from Moffs, or like, that Caloundra, Kawana, Karamundi, Watala sort of area, like, they'll have a house, like, in a beach court, but the motherfuckers are working in West Oz.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the FIFO life up here is real, because they just want to come, they want to go and work hard yakka at our place, shit I couldn't even imagine doing, sleeping in dongas. Some of my best friends do it. And then coming back, and for 2 weeks, they're surfing fucking uncrowded Watala in the middle of the day, like motherfuckers. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's that sacrifice and reward, I suppose, man. Like, I could never do that. Like, I'm too much of a pussy.
No, you've got it made in the shade, man, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that don't enjoy what they're doing. They just like it's attached to a large salary. And that's not to say that you're not making a large salary. I don't know your financial affairs.
Man, 23 grand a year is plenty. Trust me.
Dude. Mate, you've got 4-pack, right? If you walked in with a 4-pack and that nice fucking Argentinian wine, you're doing all right.
You just got to wear baggy pants to Dan Murphy's stuff as much shit. No, but man, like you can make shit happen wherever you want to be, but I don't know, man. Caloundra's, it's got a charm. It's called, like, crew call it the Caloundra charm. It's like it used to be a big country town that kind of got smaller and smaller and smaller. But all the core crew, man, like, fuck, I know people that have had houses there legit for like 60 years.
Yeah.
And they still live in them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It is something about this area. I mean, I remember coming here like, 10, 15 years ago, like as a kid on holidays, going to King's Beach, like King's Court when it was still there. Now it's like that It's across from the surf club, and it's like all, it's like nice, and there's huge fucking skyrise. But I remember going there, it was like a little brick shitter with like some white fucking letters on the wall. And I had a charm back then, and now it's just like, I just love, you do love it. You fall in love with the place, and then you fall in love with everything. Like,
you fall in love with the people. Like, you fall in love with crew like Jimbo cruising around.
There's like that disparity of like, just like, okay, there's ultra rich getting around here, but not like pretentious ultra rich.
Nah, there's just like that. Nah, there's just like that. Like, it's like, fuck you, I've retired, I'm hanging out.
Yeah.
Drinking piss,
And then there's like that people that are just like lurking around. They've not got much money, but it doesn't bother them.
Fuck no. And then it's just like peppered with the share houses of our mates and like rad surfy crew, which is like plentiful, dude. Like, man, if you go between like Knopfling Street and Roderick Street and the Pocket, so we're talking like a 200 meters any direction sort of area. Fuck, we could vibe out with like 30 people.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And it was the first time, I think I've talked about it on the show with like fucking few people, man, but that live here, but it's the first time I ever felt like community to that extent.
Dude, for sure.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm from Brisbane, right? Brisbane, the thing is, it's a big country town. Yeah, but Caloundra is where I felt like it was a country town, like where you know people, but it's not a country. It has the fucking beach, which is sick.
Yeah,
I
dude,
hate
like
the country.
it's real. No, there used to be a couple of horses walking around.
Yeah, with boards.
With the boards inside of it.
Come on, let's go far lap.
But no, man, like it's rad. Like, I don't know. I lived in every borough of the coast. When I was working at Sipsops, like I was living up at Peregian, like right on the beach in the square. I've got a house now at Majimba. Like, I'm not even living at fucking Moffs. I'm lucky enough my old boy's got a house there, and like I'm real tight with him. So once or twice a week, I make the effort to come down. We do dinner together, and then I'm just like 7:30 at night. I'm like, Dad, this has been fun, but I need to go and have some beers with the homies.
Yeah.
And then stumble in at like midnight.
Do you mind if I come back and stay? Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's for
Can
sure.
I get a key card?
Yeah, dude. Did you change the gate code? Climbing over the roof, like fucking all buckled.
He's a good dude. He's the only man I ever feared in Caloundra.
He's the only man I fear in Caloundra.
He's a stoic figure.
Fucking strong ass motherfucker, man.
But many birth due, so he must be alright. All right. I know he's alright.
He's good.
He's from the days of when dads didn't tell you they loved you.
Still is from those days. No, I was kidding. No, he's fucking good, man. He's just got this stuffy puppy, and it's changed the motherfucker, man. Like,
oh, did you get it back? I saw you was missing.
Went missing, got it back. Puppy's all good.
That was this morning. I saw that, right?
Yeah. Shout out to Tim and Eliza. You guys are fucking legends. But yeah, dude, puppy just ran away, puppy, and luckily it was like literally 10 doors down to mate's house, just like vibing out.
Staying in Caloundra, just classic. Yeah. Like, when I was in Moss for 2.5 years, and we had friends from Melbourne move up there, live off Sugarbag Road now, and they're like, so have you done like this? Have you done that? Like, and they're talking like all up the coast, from here to like Noosa. I'm like, nah. I'm like, you know what, bro? Like, when you sort of like you find a place that you like, you don't want to leave it.
It's that creature, like, especially when you're working, man. It's like, I'm working on my time off. I know I can walk down to this park and this coffee shop and hang out here, and it's gonna be a sick day.
I know, and so kind of like, I got plans to fucking embed myself in the community more. Next few years, I'm like, well, how can I get amongst it more? Do you know what I mean? Like, well, you're kind of the first fucking Caloundra legend that's probably been on the podcast.
Definitely not a legend. Definitely the biggest fucking kook ever to come from the 4551.
But you're from it. So
I'm just from it, and everybody fucking knows me for some reason. They're like, Hingy? It's like, fuck yeah. Oh, fuck this guy.
Man, you're good. I like it. But Caloundra's cool, man. Anyone that's listening that's not from Caloundra, come and visit. Come and check it out, and come get on the podcast. Come and hit me up. Come get a haircut.
Even if it takes you 4 years, just come on. Come get a haircut from this dog.
Yeah.
Drink some sours.
It's like a fine Gouda.
It's like a fine fucking Gouda.
I want to end on this, because I feel like we could talk all night. And I know this is gonna be part one. This is gonna be like a series, if you will. It's gonna be like a Netflix series. I feel this is gonna go on for you and I.
Can I get like the nipples out?
Yeah, we can get weird. We can get weird. I reckon I've talked about OnlyFans every third or fourth podcast.
Dude, I got hot feet. That's all I'm saying.
It's on. Wow, dude. I mean, that's a niche.
I'm a niche boy.
I like to say
I'm an island boy.
Now, I wanted to talk about it is Movember, right?
It is.
So you've got a nice mustache. You've had a nice little thing. I've got a little fucking half a Johnny Depp, and you're a positive dude. I will say, like, out of every time I've ever seen you in the last 4 years, I've not woke up and gone to bed with you, but I've never. There's still time.
There's still time, brother.
I've never seen you negative, even out and about. Like, you never really have a frown. Like, I've seen you at coffee shops, bars. We've run into each other here and there. We've had beers. We've done this. We've done that. We've had some joints. We've spewed after those joints. Well, at least one of us did.
I think I think I'm gonna shit myself that time.
Yeah, thanks. Dude, we didn't call each other like 6 months. But you're a positive dude. You know what I mean? Like, is there? Are you just always feeling good, generally speaking, now, or is it like you just
Man,
what's your deal? Like, it's important to talk about this, I think.
Oh, for sure, man. Like, I've suffered with like a lot of mental health shit in the past, bro, and definitely always, man. I'm just a big believer of like, you know, if you put like a fresh suit on and you get a haircut, like, you're gonna feel better about yourself. Like, if I just try and go out there and like just try and be vibey and just try and be that guy, and it makes me feel better.
Yeah,
makes me feel good, makes the crew around me feel good, and like I'm genuinely that happy dude, man. Like, I'm really, you know, I'm not super depressing or anything by any means, but I don't know. It's just kind of like it's my character. It's who I've always been. I've always been that dude, just out there and just kind of probably a bit too much, if anything. Man. You know what I'm saying? But like, fuck it, like that's just who I am, and it's just who I've always kind of been.
And that's good, man. I think that's really cool. I mean, sometimes it's fucking harder for people than others, but you've got to try, right? You've got to
give it a crack, man. If crew are getting me shit because like I'm a little bit over the top, or a little bit too happy, or a bit too in their face sometimes, like I'd rather that than, you know, something else. And if crew are talking shit about me, it's giving somebody else's ears a rest for a while anyway. You know what I mean, dude? So it's frothing, man.
I appreciate that, man. I think this has been really fun. I think there's been a lot of things that people will take away from this, and like I said before, I wasn't saying it just to fucking blow smoke up your bum. I think that we'll probably do this again. I think we should definitely do this again.
Sounds mad to me.
Where can people find you, man, if they're ever in town? Like, obviously you're down at Beach Beat.
Down at Beach Beat. So Unkle Hingy's Barbershop. It's located inside of Beach Beat Surf Shops at 119 Bullcock Street, Caloundra. So we're down the bottom end of town. Come in, operate Tuesday to Saturdays. You can find me on Instagram at Unkle Hingy's Barbershop. And it's got all my booking details on there, all my operating hours. And I'll really look forward to meeting some of you legends soon.
Dude, that was beautiful. That was almost so good it was rehearsed.
Man, I do like this in my fucking Instagram stories so fucking much. Like, I get so much shit for it, but like...
I like it, dude. You like that scene in Talladega Nights where he's first being interviewed. You're like, I don't know what to do with my hands.
I don't know what to do. And he just like...
Fucking whoompa. Sugar, bro.
Oh, bro.
Nah, man, I appreciate that. But if you are in Caloundra, come and fucking get a cup.
Come on down. Hey, mate, and big shout out to your mates brewery, man. They've always got cold tins of Tilly, cold Larry's, mate. We've got this fridge set to like just above zero. The thing is fucked up, and it won't cost you a cent. So come on down, and well, the beers won't cost you. Like, the haircut's gonna fucking like.
you gotta pay.
I'm gonna pants you, but no, just
the beer's free.
No, the beer's free. Hair's sick, and no, it'd be rad, man. And get Adsy down there. If you raise over $1,000 through this podcast, man, the dude's getting a fucking reverse mohawk straight up.
I'll do it too. If I get half of that.
Get half of that.
Yeah. He's got to charge.
Yeah, no, for sure.
No, man, I really, really appreciate it. I think it's been fucking awesome. People are gonna take shit away from this. But look, it's time. We've got 10 left. We've got another bottle of red wine downstairs. So it's time for us to
we got to go and watch Into the Wild. Take the shirts off. Start cuddling.
Yeah, dude, we're two bears.
Couple of bet, you know, our daddies didn't really give us that much, so we're gonna give it to each other. You know what I'm saying?
Dude. This is King of the Couch. I'm sitting across from Unkle Hingy, aka Tyler Hing, whatever he's called. Fucking call him Hingy. That's all I call you as.
Hingy.
Seriously, episode 119. That's in the can. Thanks so much for listening.
119.
You've been a beautiful audience, and we love you all. Have a great week.
Peace.